I started my human resources career in the mining industry, which in retrospect was a great place to learn how to be a real people partner to managers and employees in business. The mining industry is made up of both blue-collar and white-collar workers, highly technical and educated people with master's degrees, MBAs and PhDs, as well as people with critical skills and knowledge acquired from the school of life and experience. These people had no paper-based qualifications from educational institutions and yet were core to the success of the business. Some of these employees would be classified as unskilled or semi-skilled, and yet these were the people that were the backbone of the business, without whom the mining industry would not be able to get off the ground. This was a great training ground for me as an HR practitioner, and I recall one of the first things that I learned to do, the concept of what was then referred to as manpower planning. Manpower planning was just that, sitting with the managers and planning what their predominantly manpower needs were. In practice, it entailed me walking around with a ring binder file of the organizational structure of every department that I was responsible for and having conversations with the respective managers about their structure. These organizational structures had the hierarchical positions for that department, and the names of the individuals in those positions would be written in pencil. I would sit with the manager and discuss each role, cross out names, swap out names, make little notes about training needs against those names, and place names of people in redundant positions in a parking lot, and would occasionally add a block if a new position was required. If a new position was identified, the manager and I would discuss what the position entailed and what skills and competencies were required. Having chatted to all my managers, I would come back to my office where I had a huge pinboard which I used to depict the entire organizational structure, the areas that I was responsible for, alongside with little pictures of the individual employees, so as to put a face to the name. Having this visually displayed meant that I could see where the vacancies were in each department and where the redundancies were in other departments, and see if those redundancies could fill existing vacancies. If there was no match, I would then chat to my fellow HR practitioners who would be doing something similar in their areas and would see if there were any interdepartmental matches. If there were no internal matches, then I knew that I would have to have a different conversation with the respective manager on how to go about filling that vacancy. As an HR practitioner still learning the ropes, I thought that this was manpower planning in its entirety. I relied on the manager to tell me what his needs were and saw my role as working with him to deliver on those requirements, whether through an internal move or an external recruitment process. We no longer call that process manpower planning. It is now called workforce planning or workforce management. As I became more proficient in human resources and I gained experience in the field, I realized that there was so much more to workforce management than the scheduling of resources in the short term, and that I as an HR practitioner had much more of a role to play. I understood that workforce management did not cover the entirety of the process, and that to add real business value, I needed to think, and I needed to train my managers to think, in terms of strategic workforce management, which is a longer-term plan aligned to the business strategy of the organization. And as the business strategy of the organization changes, this plan needed to be adjusted accordingly. Welcome to this course on strategic workforce management. This course on strategic workforce management looks at how to align your people strategy with the business strategy. An organization's competitive advantage is its people, and in order to add maximum value for the organization, these people must be optimally distributed throughout the company. Continued growth requires placing the right people in the right positions at the right time, doing the right thing. And it is the business strategy that informs who the right people are, what the right positions are, and what the right thing is that they need to be doing. By the end of this course, you will understand what strategic workforce management is and how it adds value to the business, how strategic workforce management is required to achieve the organization's strategic objectives, how the organization's strategic objectives provide the framework for workforce management, how to align organizational strategy, the strategic roadmap, and your workforce to build capability and capacity as a framework for business success, how to use strategic workforce management to inform your people management processes like performance management, talent acquisition, succession planning, etc. In fact, strategic workforce management can inform a number of other HR processes like organizational design and development, recruitment and selection, retention planning, job design, career planning, learning and development, and reward and recognition. This course is for employees seeking career advancement, human resource professionals seeking to be strategic value-adding partners to the business, people interested in understanding the interdependence between business success and workforce planning, and in fact, actually, for all levels of management. This is a wonderful tool to add to your management toolkit arsenal. This course has been designed to help you to understand what strategic workforce management is, the benefits of strategic workforce management, the 7 key elements of strategic workforce management. Now, under this section, the 7 key elements, we will get into the vision and strategy, the strategic roadmap, the aligning and cascading of organizational objectives, the capability gap analysis, the human capital strategy, the integrated performance management framework, and monitoring, evaluating, and adjusting. I will also be providing some real-life examples. The exercises will hopefully help you to practically apply some of the learnings. Leadership of organizations spend much of their time analyzing market trends, customer behavior, and what their competitors are doing. This, of course, makes a lot of business sense for organizations seeking competitive advantage. However, in seeking competitive advantage, very little time is spent on the greatest source of competitive advantage, namely the organization's people or its workforce. In a vague, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, strategic workforce management is the greatest differentiating factor between a successful and a mediocre organization. My name is Tani, and I have over 25 years of experience in the field of human resources. I have been a human resources business partner, a head of human resources, and a human resources director in corporates spanning multiple continents and industries, from mining to retail, from financial services to online marketing, to name but a few. A few years ago, I founded Human Capital Matters, a specialist end-to-end people and strategy consultancy. Human Capital Matters, or HCM, specializes in end-to-end human capital, strategy, and business transformation solutions tailor-made to its customer-specific needs. My initiation into the field of human resources was in the South African mining industry. I learned that if I wanted people to listen and to take instruction from me, what I said had to make holistic business sense. As an HR person, it wasn't enough that I understood human resources. In order to be truly effective, I had to understand the business and ensure that the people strategy was at all times aligned to the business strategy. The business world is more complex than ever before, and we live in times where the rate of change is without precedent. The changing business landscape means that organizations must constantly review and realign their people strategy to meet the needs of an evolving business strategy. This course on strategic workforce management will help you to do just that. I hope that you enjoy this course and that it adds to your management toolkit arsenal.